Good morning and welcome to our 267th program of our kitchen. I'm Gordy Galusha,
I'm Nancy Ostrich.
and today we're going to be making tomato chickpea soup, cold ramen noodle salad, and a St. Paddy's Day cake, which is called a cream de mint cake. We're going to start off with Nancy.
Okay, thank you. Being that we're doing this still Lent, I decided to make a couple of meatless dishes. Well, one would be soup, and the other is a salad that cold, which I guess I'm thinking towards summertime. So, whatever. I'm going to start with the soup, and I have in this soup pot a medium onion that I have diced, and I'm going to add about 2 cups of I have fresh carrots. You can use 2 cups of frozen carrots that you've thawed. If I have fresh vegetables on hand, I very often will opt for, if I can, the fresh vegetable. So I'm putting these in with the onion that I've sliced, and I'm going to saute these two for about 8 to 10 minutes. I want to cook them down so that to soften them. So while that's happening, I will turn it over to Gordy to do her cream de mint cake.
Good morning and have a wonderful, beautiful Friday today. It is gorgeous out. I have been waiting for this for 3 months. But my poor little dog, when she goes out, she can't walk on the snow anymore. She sinks in, and she doesn't like that too much. And she doesn't like getting her feet wet, which is funny. Today I'm going to make a St. Paddy's Day cake, which is called a cream de mint cake. I use Duncan Hines cake mixes all the time. Ever since I've been baking and cooking for this many years, I've used Duncan Hines. And in my bowl, I have a box of Duncan Hines yellow cake mix, 3 eggs, a third of a cup of Crisco oil, a third of a cup of cream de mint, a box of pistachio pudding, and a cup of sour cream. And I'm going to mix this all together. It becomes a pretty green cake mix. And I'm hoping one of our workers, our main person here, can eat this. I don't know what to make for him. I'm still looking for gluten-free recipes. If anybody out there has some good ones, I wish they would send them to me. I'd appreciate it. Okay, this is all mixed up. Okay, and I'm going to put it into a tube pan. As you can see, this tube pan is very old. I've had it for many years. In fact, I think my mother gave it to me, and she used it a lot. So I'm going to turn this in here, hopefully, without getting it all over me and all over the kitchen. And pretty green, isn't it?
Yes.
This is a favorite cake among my family members. I have to make this for my daughter with gluten-free flour. It's a little messy at times here. Okay. You smooth it all out. Okay. Looks even enough. And I'm going to put it into a 350-degree oven for 45 to 55 minutes. Okay. Okay, I'm done with this part of my cake. I'm going to turn it over to Nancy.
Okay. I'm back to my onion and carrots, sauteing them, and I set my timer for 10 minutes. And I've got about 3 minutes left to cook these vegetables down. Over here, I've got another pot of water that I'm bringing to a boil. Almost there. This is for the cold ramen noodle salad, and I need to cook. Well, again, you could use frozen, or I'm using fresh broccoli flowerets because I had some on hand. So I cut them up into small little flowerets, and I'm going to boil them along with, if you follow the recipe, a half of a 16-ounce bag of the frozen broccoli flowerets and a half 16-ounce bag of frozen shelled edamame. I am not a fan of edamame, so I am leaving that out of my salad. But if you're into that and they're good for you, so go ahead. Putting the broccoli into the boiling water, and it's not going to take long to get this boiling again. Because now I want to add, I had some extra packages of the ramen noodles, and you can either use 3 or 4 of packages, but I only want the noodles. So I'm going to add those to the broccoli. And the buzzer indicates that I can continue on with the soup. And I want to boil the ramens and the broccoli for about 4 minutes. So we'll do that. And now back to the soup. I'm going to add 1 29-ounce can of tomato puree. And 4 cups of water. And this first cup is I also want to add to the soup 2 tablespoons of a low sodium vegetable or chicken broth base, and I'm using the bouillon cubes. So that first cup has, I had softened them. So that's 1. 2. 3. And 4. And then we're going to just simmer this, and in a little while I'm going to add 1 15.5 or so ounce can of chickpeas, which I have drained and rinsed, and 2 cups of frozen green beans, which I let thaw. And it wasn't in the recipe, but I may add some orzo. I know we've got some starch here with the chickpeas, but I just may add some orzo macaroni to the soup. So let that get up to a boil, and I got a couple of more minutes. With my other recipe. I'm going to have to drain that. Help keep 2 things going here sometimes is a challenge. Okay, get that up to a boil or a simmer. The recipe calls for cooling your noodles down. Letting them drain. So There's the chickpeas. And the green beans. I'm going to break for a minute or two because I want to get the other stuff up for the salad and let this get up to a boil. So we'll just break for while I set that stuff up. It took me a little while to get everything set up here. But I got to make a dressing now for the ramens and broccoli. And over in this larger bowl, I have the noodles. It's going to be fun to serve this up. So, in a small bowl here, I've already got 3 tablespoons of smooth peanut butter. Oh, and by the way, I did add some orzo to my soup, and it's about ready. Of course, soup the next day always tastes better. And I think I would like to add maybe when I'm cooking down the carrots and the onions, some garlic, minced garlic, or later garlic powder. I think it's going to take some different some seasoning to get it to where you want it. Also, I sometimes like to, with a tomato base, is add some sweetener if it's acidy, and I might put in some honey to sweeten it up. But it's all in your own taste, what you like to do to enhance recipes. So let's get back to my dressing. First of all, I'm going to mix 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar with the peanut butter. I did have rice vinegar on hand. See if we can whisk it together. Now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of lime juice. I opted to get the bottle as opposed to fresh limes. I'm a lemon person, not a lime person. And they are sometimes very hard to get juice out of. This is much easier. Two tablespoons of low sodium, if you have it, soy sauce. Or regular soy sauce. And something I don't keep on hand, so I did find a small bottle because it is expensive, is sesame oil. want another 2 tablespoons. This is not easy to get out of the bottle. Thick, I guess.
Is that thick, Nancy?
It's kind of, yeah.
Sesame seed oil is very expensive.
I know. Okay. Whisk that all up. I can smell sesame, which I like the smell of sesame. A little salt and pepper to taste, I guess. This is going to be added to your noodles, tossed with them. And what's the best thing to... Along with 2 or 3 green onions. I'm using 2 good sized ones here, and cut, up as far as you can on the stalk. That's green. So let's pour it on. And I'm glad I only had 3 packages of noodles.
Makes a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm going to need another fork, I think. I have to work at getting it all mixed in. And then there is your cold ramen noodle salad, which I shall put in the refrigerator for the time being to make sure it stays cold. So, we found some minced garlic here. Which I'm going to add to the soup. And we'll continue to simmer that. And I think, Gordy, you're going to come back and make your frosting at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll break until that happens.
My cake is done now. I took it out of the oven. I put it on a plate, and then I put it into the refrigerator to cool it down. Now I'm going to make my frosting for it. In my bowl, I have a box of confectionery sugar, a box of pistachio instant pudding mix, and I have a stick of softened butter, a teaspoon of vanilla, and I've got 3 tablespoons of milk in there. And now I'm going to mix it up. So everybody stand back because I don't know, what do I say? What am I?
You're a messy cook.
I'm messy, dangerous, messy with confectionery sugar. All right. Flour and confectionery sugar. It makes a pretty green frosting. It'll come together here pretty soon. There, okay. Okay, and this is what my green frosting looks like. And I will put that on the cake as soon as it cools down. And I think I maybe I need a little more milk. Looks like it's kind of thick. I'll put a little more in here and mix it up. Make sure that it's spreadable. Yeah, that's better. And you will see what the cake looks like when we go to our table. I'm going to cut now until my cake is cool, and then I'll frost it.
Oh, welcome back to our table. We have our 3 selections on the table here. I'm going to start out with what's in the middle. It's my tomato and chickpea soup. I have a couple of things I'd like to change with it. In the beginning, I sautéed onion and carrots. And you could use frozen carrots. I used fresh carrots, and saute if things were soft, about 10 minutes. And then but I think at that point I maybe would add some minced garlic as some spice to it, a flavoring. Then I added a large can of tomato puree and water, 4 cups of water, and also some chicken bouillon cubes or some kind of flavor base to add some extra flavor to it. And then simmering, after it simmered a little while, I added the chickpeas, a can I drained and rinsed them, and 2 cups of frozen green beans, which you thaw out. Tasting it, along with salt and pepper to taste, I would have, if I hadn't put the garlic in earlier, I might have put some garlic powder. And I don't like acidy tasting tomato, either spaghetti or this is a tomato base. I would add some honey because that's what I like to sweeten tomatoes, recipes like that. So it takes some changing to your specification, particularly with soups, because they're, a lot, and you might need to do your own thing. My second thing was this cold ramen noodle salad. I've never made one before. I've had some, and I like the sesame flavor to it. It called for 4 3-ounce packages of ramen noodles, no flavor packet, just the noodles to boil up. I only had 3, and I'm glad I didn't use 4, because the recipe for the dressing barely has taken, is enough for the 3 packages. And another thing that wasn't in the recipe, what I would do is break up the noodles some before I cook them, because you start out by boiling broccoli flowerets in a pot, and then when it comes adding the noodles to boil them up, and then you drain them and cool them down. Then the dressing is peanut butter and rice vinegar and lime juice and soy sauce and sesame oil. And that is all whisked together and then poured over the noodles. And just about had enough dressing, and I could have used a little bit more. One thing that is missing in my salad is edamame beans, and they would have been cooked up when I did the broccoli and the noodles. So there's my 2, but I like what Gordy did. It looks better than my for dessert, Gordy.
Oh. Today I made a green cake, which is green on top and green in the middle, which is called a cream to mint cake. This is a cake of my favorite cakes that my family loves, so I make it quite often. And it's made with a yellow cake mix, which I use Duncan Hines all the time. And it's got eggs and Crisco oil and cream de mint and instant pistachio pudding mix and sour cream. And I beat it all together and put it in a tube pan and baked it for 35 to 45 minutes. And I put it in the refrigerator to cool down so that I could frost it for the show. And my frosting is a box of confectionery sugar, a box of pistachio instant pudding mix, a stick of butter, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 3 or 4 tablespoons of milk for consistency. And I frosted the cake, and this is what it looks like. It's very easy to make, so give it a try. And your family will love it. And if you would like any of these recipes, please send a self-addressed stamp down below to Dalton Community Cable, 151 Park Avenue, Dalton, Mass. 01226. And that's all from our kitchen today. Have a great day.